In this video, we'll look at all the key muscles for bodybuilding, what they do, how they work, and how to train them. Bodybuilders work on every body part to build a balanced, aesthetic physique. But each muscle is trained differently according to its function. So, if your aim is to grow muscle and train effectively, here's Fit Media's complete guide to the key muscle groups for bodybuilding. The chest is made up of two pec muscles, major and minor. They control the movement of bringing the arms forward in front of the body, hinging at the shoulder. An exercise like flat bench press uses weight to resist that movement, as your elbows come in front of the chest. This exercise is a compound movement, using not only the pec muscles, but also triceps and front delts. So, you can go for a heavier weight to create more muscle damage. You can also train chest using isolation with a fly movement, keeping the elbows locked using only the pec muscle. It's a lighter weight, but as the pec is a wide, flat muscle, you can use this exercise to focus on the stretch as the elbows go wide. And the squeeze, with a full contraction at the top of the movement. Changing the angle of resistance hits muscle fibers in different parts of the chest. A high angle hitting upper chest, a low angle for lower chest. Being a large muscle, the pec can handle heavy loads. Bodybuilders use both compound and isolation exercises, training all angles to achieve impressive chest development. The back is an incredibly complicated system of larger and smaller muscles. Together, they do everything from pulling movements to keeping you upright when you're standing or walking. Key muscles in the back are traps. The two main trap muscles form a diamond at the top of the back. They keep the upper back in position and move the shoulder blades. The upper part of the traps assist in a pressing movement, like an overhead press. And they're the main muscles worked in a shrug. The middle part can really add thickness to the center of the back, with an exercise like machine row. The lats are a pair of wide, flat muscles either side of the back. They're used in most movements that involve pulling with the arms, so they're the main muscle used in a pull-up. Trained properly, the lats can add impressive width to the back, helping bodybuilders create that classic V taper at the back of the body. Spinal erectors. This group of muscles keeps the spine straight. In the deadlift, they support the movement of bringing the back upright. Spinal erectors are key to posture and safety in many different exercises. But bodybuilders looking to build an aesthetic back tend to avoid overdeveloping the spinal erectors because they can take away from the impression of having a narrow waist. Okay, time to talk about legs. Legs are key to all kinds of movements, from standing to walking to jumping. Bodybuilders like to have thick legs to create an X shape. Wide shoulders, narrow waist, big legs. The most important leg muscles are the quads, so called because there's 4 of them. These are the biggest muscles in the body. Straightening the leg at the knee joint, for example, in an exercise like squats. The squat is a compound exercise where the movement is supported by other muscles, allowing experienced trainers to use heavy loads, creating growth. However, this movement puts a lot of effort through a single joint, the knee, so correct form is key. You can also isolate the quads with an exercise like leg extensions. The only movement is hinging the leg at the knee joint. As this is isolation, it's better to hit failure by going for more reps rather than heavy weights. Many bodybuilders aim to develop that teardrop-shaped muscle just above the knee. These inner quad muscles help to lock the legs out. So to hit them directly, give a full squeeze on the leg extension. The outer quads are the ones that give an effect bodybuilders call quad sweep, making the legs pop out to the sides. To work the outer quad, hit an exercise like hack squat with feet close together, low on the plate. This foot position wouldn't be possible in a standing squat because of balance, but here, the machine provides support, letting you hit the optimal position to work outer quad, building that sweep. Later, we'll look at the other key muscles in the legs, hamstrings, calves, and glutes, which power the hip joint. Abs are often the most eye-catching feature of a muscular physique. But the six-pack is only part of a complicated system of muscles in your midsection that you use in many different ways. When people talk about abs, they usually mean the group of long, flat muscles that line up down the front of the midsection. These are the muscles you use to curl the upper body. For example, in a crunch, pulling the rib cage and the hips up and together. Repeating this simple movement can strengthen and thicken these muscles, adding a light weight to help exhaust them quicker. Again, going for more reps rather than heavier weight. But remember, these six-pack muscles work in many different ways as part of the whole midsection. From keeping you steady in a simple plank position to maintaining posture in a squat. In fact, very few bodybuilders train abs separately. Their six-packs come from mastering powerful compound movements, plus overall conditioning, and regular cardio to keep the body fat low. A common mistake is to confuse abs with hip flexors. In hanging leg raise, most of the work is done by the hip flexors. That's a different set of muscles. To engage the abs, roll the hips forward as if you're doing a crunch. You'll also hear people talking about obliques, sometimes confused with the serratus, the set of muscles that are used to twist the midsection. These can also be trained separately by adding resistance to your side crunch. But as with the abdominals, having your six-pack framed by a thick, defined set of obliques comes from overall core strength and conditioning. The shoulders are made up of 3 smaller muscles, the delts. These work alongside biceps, back, and chest to create the different movements from the shoulder joint. In a raise, the delts lift the arm up. The pecs bring it down. Although resistance training will help grow the delts, heavier weights can lead to overtraining and injury. Instead, go for lighter weight and techniques like time under tension. Working on isolation of the 3 key muscles. Front delt with pressing movements. Middle delts with raises. And rear delts with flies. Fully developed delts, front, middle, and back, help create a 3D effect that makes the shoulders pop, enhancing that classic V shape loved by fans of old-school bodybuilding. Arms are probably the easiest muscle group to get your head around. The biceps bend the arm. Triceps straighten the arm. The bi in biceps refers to 2 muscles, the long head and the short head. They both work together in a curling movement. But you can focus on them separately by changing the angle. Bending the arm with elbows in front of you works more on the short head, the inner part, which adds thickness. Working with the elbows at the side or behind your body targets the long head, giving a greater peak when you flex the bicep. The triceps at the back of the arm are 3 muscles, which work to straighten the arm. So, resistance comes when you use weight to stop you straightening the arm, with a dumbbell, or using a cable. It's often said that because triceps make up twice the muscle mass of the biceps, you need to train them more often to create a full, thick arm. But in an all-round training program, triceps get lots of work anyway, as secondary muscles in many pushing exercises that involve straightening the arm. There's also another often neglected muscle in the upper arm called brachialis. This muscle sits underneath the bicep, assisting that curling movement. In a bodybuilder, a well-developed brachialis can make the arms look bigger because it pushes the biceps up from underneath. An exercise where the weight is brought up close to the body will target the brachialis. Finally, the muscles in the back of the legs. Hamstrings do the job of bending the leg at the knee joint, in a curling movement like a lying leg curl. These are much smaller muscles than the quads, so are better trained with an isolation exercise like this, using lighter weights, higher reps. Hamstrings are also part of the classic deadlift, helping straighten the body as you come up. Also key to the deadlift, the glutes, a group of muscles controlling the movement of the hips. They can also be trained separately against resistance, either on a special machine or by varying an exercise like the squat by using a wide stance. Calves. Often neglected by general gym goers, bodybuilders see well-developed calves as part of a complete muscular physique. The calves straighten the ankle joint, so they're easily trained in an exercise like standing calf raises, where body weight is enough to help you reach exhaustion. A well-developed calf will display a split, showing the 2 parts of the muscle. So, now, if you're ready to build your own aesthetic, muscular physique, here are our top 5 tips. Reaching failure is essential to growing and building muscle. On compound exercises, use heavy weights to add size. For isolation exercises, go for lighter weights, more reps to add detail. Exhausting the muscle is only the beginning. For maximum growth, take in plenty of protein as part of a balanced diet. And it all takes time, so rest and recovery can be as important as exercise. For many more exercises for each of the key body parts, you'll find demos and explainers free on our website. Just follow the link to Fit Media Plus.